Hey everyone, we are back. Welcome back to another episode of Chanel in the City on iHeartRadio. And we have such an exciting special guest here today with us. He has starred in, produced, and directed over 23 films, including The Irishman, Mobtown, First We Take Brooklyn, and more. He's now back hitting the big screens again with his two biggest films out now, I Love Us and Lansky with Harvey Keitel. Please welcome my dear friend, the talented director, producer, and actor, Danny Abeckaser, AKA Danny A. How are you?
Wow, what an intro. Let's make that clear. I did not direct all 23 of those movies. I directed 4. But yeah.
Let's get into that. I want you to, can you break that down? I mean, but you have been in or starred or produced in over 23 films. That is amazing.
I've been in more. I acted in like 25, 26 movies. Small parts, bigger parts. But in the last like 4 or 5 years, I really like started doing things on a little different, bigger level. My latest, which we need to talk about, is called I Love Us. And it's really good. It's probably, and I know everyone says that about their latest movie, their last movie, but this is the best movie I've made. It's so different than what I've done before, but I love it, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, we saw the trailer, which we're going to put up on the Chanel in the City YouTube page and iHeartRadio Media. The trailer is amazing because I've known you for a very long time. We'll talk about the new listeners here. We'll talk about mine and Danny A's relationship. Danny A is like a big brother to me. He's a family. I learned a lot of my career. You guys always ask me advice. I learned it from this man. You can learn a lot from this man. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is something different that Danny's done because it's more comedy, it's more dramedy, there's heart to it, but you're also playing similar characters. So take us through why did you want to do this movie? What stood out to you with this movie?
So my favorite movie of all time is called The Family Man. And that's Nicolas Cage, came out over 20 years ago. Family Man is about a guy who's very successful, has a big apartment in New York, drives a Ferrari, dates a supermodel. And he thinks he is the man. Fairly young, maybe in his mid-30s, early 40s, and he gets a glimpse of what his life would have been like if he would have married his college sweetheart. And kids and small little house and a shitty job. But he realizes that life, and there's so much life in the house, and there's so much love, and you don't need the materialistic things. And that movie really like touched me someplace, and I was kind of like, wow, that's really what life's all about. So going into trying to figure out what I want to do next, I thought, how can I do something similar and to that effect of a guy that lives one life and then gets caught up in another and tries to deal with it and picks which one, is right for him. That's where the storyline came from. It's about a guy who, him and his dad has, they do all these like crimes, and
see, you still have the gangster in you. You still have the gangster.
They're not really gangsters, but they're crooks, and they steal and cheat. And he falls in love with this girl, and he's like infatuated with her. She has 2 daughters. He wants to adopt them, and he decides, I can't do this and this. This is my new life now, and it's about trying to balance both and making the right choice and seeing how we can kind of adapt to it. And anyone could once you're thrown into that world.
That's amazing. I'm so excited to watch the movie. Now it's hitting theaters now. And so where can we watch the movie? When can we watch the movie?
So September 17th, it's out on all the platforms and theaters, limited cities. I think it's like 7, 8 cities, New York being one of them, Los Angeles, Miami. And you can watch it in the theater. You can watch it on iTunes, Amazon, Hulu, all the platforms.
Talk to us about also the main actress in the movie. Why did you pick her for the lead?
Katie Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I casted the blonde girl, Harlow Jane first, who I love. And my agent represents Katie, and I've known about Katie. I've met her a few times years and years ago. And once he sent me all her stuff and he said that she's in LA and she's available and she would read it, I said, okay. So I had to make a decision. Once I kind of like focused on her, I wanted to see if she can fit the world, fit the age of being able to be a mom to a 15-year-old.
Right.
And then I spoke to her. We went and met up. We had dinner and kind of went over the script, and she loved the script. And at that point, it was a no-brainer. I was like, she's the right fit, and she's great, and she did such a good job in this.
I love it. It's also, you're acting, I mean, it's always real, it's always authentic. I want to talk about a little bit your personal life. How did it work? You're engaged to a beautiful woman, Mai, from Israel.
Thank you.
And it's so interesting because a lot of people ask me this all the time. How do you make something look so real on screen, right? You have a love interest on screen, but then you have your personal life. How do you cope with that? How did you cope with that throughout this movie? Because it was a big deal for you in your personal life during filming, right? You got engaged, yeah. So if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, look, I'm an actor. I told when I met her that I'm an actor and I make movies, and sometimes you have a character that you have to play that might have a love interest, and it wasn't easy for her. She's not used to that. But at the end of the day, I'm an actor, and this is a love story, and I have to show that I'm in love and really sell it. The whole thing is very mechanical, and it's kind of like a little awkward.
Right.
But you have to really be in it in the moment. And when they call cut, you go back to your regular life. I mean, it's just what it is.
Right. You need to learn how to separate. So like, that's probably
Absolutely. I mean, that's not my life. That's Sammy's life. That's the character's name. But Danny goes home to me.
Right. That's cool. I love that. I love that separation. That's a good advice also for people who are getting in the business and, are having a hard time separating. Let's talk about, so I Love Us. What can you tell us in terms of, box office expecting now that COVID is dying, well, not dying down, but things are opening up and the theaters are opening up. Do you feel like it's going to be a better run?
I don't think people are going to go to the theater to see this. There's a big reason why things go theatrical these days. Going theatrical allows you to be day and date and in theaters now. All those things really matter when you're on Amazon Prime, when you're on iTunes, and the way they promote it. You can also charge more money being in theaters at the moment. So I don't necessarily think people are going to go run to the theater to watch I Love Us when they can sit home and watch it. But some people just love that experience. So we'll see about that. But I think there's more to being in theaters as far as the back end and what you can get on the platforms.
Yeah, I love it. I plan on going myself. I always tell my audience, first step to self-love is go to a movie, go to a restaurant by yourself. This is a great movie to go on a date night or go by yourself and like take it in and really understand the difference between.
Go with a girlfriend. Go with a girlfriend. You guys will love it. It's a very empowering female. There's like hope. Women are like, oh yes. There's good men out there. There's good men out there.
I was gonna say, but the good men are always taken. But yes, there is hope. There is hope that the good men are always taken. It's the truth. I mean, talk to us about female empowerment. I want to talk to, you're one of the male directors and producers and actors that have really stood by women in Hollywood, have really embraced the roles, the power dynamic. Do you see Hollywood heading towards that direction? I mean, why do you like, what is it about you? Were you raised just to empower women more? Is it something innate? Like, talk to us about the differences.
Well, I think it's so important for everyone to have equal rights to be able to do whatever they want and whatever their passion is. I never looked at life like that. Like, oh, because this person is a female, this person is a male, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Plus, I'm very close with my mom.
Yeah.
My sisters growing up, they raised me. I honestly, I'm not just saying that. In my mind, I don't see a difference.
I
It
love
doesn't
that.
matter that this is a female, this is a male. It doesn't register in my brain. Um, female audiences gravitate towards good stories, and sometimes a good story can be told through a female's perspective better than a male. So I just don't really, in my mind. Me, I just, every time we make a movie, I understand that everyone goes to a movie for different reasons. Some people want to see action, some people want to see love, some people want to see a different perspective on things, a different world, and females are always involved in that. So you need a powerful woman to get the word across.
I love it. Let's talk also about your character, how you prepared for this role. And did you have input in directing or producing as well on this film?
I directed it.
You directed it too. Okay,
and-
so
and
it just blows my mind. Anyone who says they can't do it all, you're the living example
it's
of
very, very hard.
hard.
I'm crazy for even like attempting it, and I'm actually gonna go do it again. I'm just a crazy person. But look, this movie is different. It's very emotional. I cry, I laugh, there's so many things. I just tap into my personal life. I've been through a lot in the last couple of years, and I just tapped into that. And it's very difficult for a lot of people. I never did it before. I've never done it, and to go there took me a minute. But yeah, my
love
personal life, and I'm like a dinosaur. I've been around for so long. I kind of just tap into like experiences, everyday life that I've just done, and that's how I prepare for stuff.
Would you say that's a successful tip you would offer to like an actor, if you wanted to cast someone to just really take life experiences instead of the formula, instead of the robotic?
All day, every day. I don't, the whole format of acting and trying to teach someone how to act, I don't see it. There's very there's very mechanical stuff about acting that I just don't do, and a lot of people don't do. For me, it's like, look, this is the reality that you're in right now. Your name is Sammy. Those two girls need you to adopt them, and they're looking at you with these puppy eyes, and you need to like really figure out. So I kind of like put myself in that position as if I'm really that character. And I know it's weird to say, but you can really do it if you really concentrate and then listening. A lot of actors just don't listen to the other actor. If you just listen to what they say, you would react to it in a very natural way. But a lot of actors are just thinking about their lines, and they just can't wait for the other person to stop talking so they can give their lines. And it's so yeah.
Right, because you want to establish that authentic chemistry, the dynamic.
Just listen to the other actor and kind of have a conversation. Go back and forth. It's the best advice I can give.
I love that. We also see Robert Davi in this movie.
Oh, he's so good in this. I'm not kidding. I know I say that, and he's so good in everything. He's so good in this as Harvey. He plays my dad, and he has this act. He's just so good. He's always good.
Talk to us about the new listeners tuning in. You have worked with Robert Davi on a lot of your movies. You've casted him as main leads. What is it about? That's what we all love about your directing and your producing. It hasn't happened in a long time where you really utilize the actors in all your movies at some point or another. Talk to us about why.
Well, when you make a movie of this size, and you want to surround yourself with people that you trust, that you know they're gonna give it to you, and you just kind of like it's like a family like thing. I love Robert Davi, and every time I think that there's a great role, why give it to someone else when I know he can knock it out of the park? Plus, he's my friend, and he always comes through for me. Plus, he helps sell the movie because he's a name. And this is the way I am, with Greg Finley and James Medeo now, and my boy George. A lot of guys that I just like working with, and if I think they can do the role, and why not use them? Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and sometimes when it does, I love to have them.
I love that. Also, we have your other movie we're going to talk about, Lansky, with Harvey Keitel. Another movie that you've been in with him, you've done other movies with him as well. So I love that you utilize him too. He's a great actor. I think underrated. He should get more credit than he usually does. But talk to us about why you decided to make Lansky during this time and why him for the
Well,
movie.
Lansky, we shot right before COVID. And it's been a passion project for like 6-7 years
Oh,
of
wow.
mine and the director, whose dad actually wrote the book that the movie's based on, Eitan Rockway. And I just loved the Lansky story, so I wanted to tell it. And I teamed up with him. I came in the early stages when we had to hire the writer and we financed the script. And Eitan came on, and I kind of took a step back, did a bunch of other stuff while they were trying to make it, and then we went and shot it in Alabama, and it did very, very well. It's out now everywhere, and it's doing very, very well. It's the biggest movie, like as far as like being involved from day one that I've done.
Right. And it's also, talk to us about what it's about. It's also about do you have a character in it as well, correct?
Yeah, I play the FBI agent. Me and David Elliott are the FBI agents that are looking for Lansky's money. The movie's about, Meyer Lansky, probably one of the biggest gangsters of all time, Murder Inc. He was Lucky Luciano's partner, built Las Vegas, created the commission, all that stuff. Jewish gangster, only Jew never be allowed to live in Israel.
Oh, wow.
They extradited him back, died at natural causes, went to jail once for 4 months, had a son that was really, really sick. And even though he's the biggest gangster in the world, flew around the world trying to save his son and help him medically. Just such an interesting guy. You got to see the movie.
That's amazing. Yeah, a lot of people are watching it on demand. It's a go-to movie right now. It's like it's like the new Goodfellas. It's kind of like one of those movies. We haven't had a movie like that in a very long time. And I feel like, which is my next question, why do you think you're different, or what sets you apart than other people in Hollywood right now? Because you tend to also make a lot of original movies based on original, authentic stories. Why do you think you gravitate towards that?
I like real stories and I like interesting stories. If you break down what sells in Hollywood,
Yeah.
Probably it'll be a little different. You know what I mean? I just like to tell the stories that I am interested in. I think people will be interested in. It has some built-in audiences of certain genres, but I just feel fortunate that I can tell these stories. Look, making a movie is so difficult, and every time we make one, it's like a miracle. I'm at the point where I just want everyone to know about I Love Us so they can enjoy it. It's like so sad when you love something and you think it's so good. And it's sad that some people might never see it because they just never hear of it because it's so small. But we're hoping, I think this story gravitates to everyone. And plus, I'm a guy, I grew up in Brooklyn. I love that certain worlds that I love. So I guess that's just my thing.
Yeah, the trailer looks amazing. It looks like it has everything in it. And that's what we need. We haven't had that in a long time, since especially COVID, where you have comedy, you have heart, you have action, you have drama, you have mystery, right? You have there's all this stuff, where cliffhangers, which everybody loves. So I'm very excited to see it.
Thank you.
And listen, this is another big part, what you can share with us in the audience. A lot of people think acting or making a movie is easy. They don't understand. Right. And I love how you said the differentiation between the business end of it. Like, listen, there's movies that will sell in box office for a reason. And then there's movies I want to tell the story to, and that's what matters. Can you take us through the process for you, without giving too much information about what it takes for you to actually make a movie, make people pay attention to being made?
Well, the studios are making like Disney, they're making, Marvel and superhero stuff. I don't see studios making anything else. It takes the independent, kind of director to try to make something that people would really like, a story that I feel like needs to be told. Look, I'm not any different. I try to make movies that people will actually see and do a good job. And these are just the kind of stories that I gravitate towards. I love basketball. I made Blackjack. You know, I always loved the gangster movies, so I made Moptown and Lansky. I'm a softie at heart, so I made I Love Us. You know, it's like I have all
Yeah.
these things that are a big part of who I am.
You also did one of my favorite movies, The Stand-Up Guy, which is, we're going to bring it a little bit back to the day because I think there's an important lesson in here
It's
where,
a stand-up guy.
oh, sorry, a stand-up guy. I always say the stand-up.
A stand-up guy.
Where's the Brooklyn in me? I lost the Brooklyn in me.
A stand-up guy.
A stand-up guy.
That guy's a stand-up guy.
Which is funny because the movie is not only about you being a stand-up comedian, but it's a stand-up guy. Like in the end, it's a metaphor about being a stand-up person, right? A mensch.
Yeah.
And you and I had talked about how I asked you, and I was shocked because I do some stand-up comedy, and you said, well, I had to go to clubs and actually perform. So talk to us a little bit about that movie, like what you had to prepare, and would you ever do a stand-up comedy tour? Like, do you?
Hell no.
Melissa Rivers, by the way, Melissa Rivers just said the same answer. She goes, hell no, it's the worst shit ever.
It's the hardest thing ever. You know, when you're sitting with your friends and you're telling a story, there's a lot of like, they know who you are. There's your little quirks that they think is funny. But when you're like in front of like random people that you've never seen in life, they don't know anything about you. You really need to hit something in deep in them to like have them even crack a laugh. And they're dying not to laugh. So they're like this. I mean, look, so I needed to like figure out, I just wanted to be able to kind of get the beats of how to tell the stories. So I went and I did a few, I went to like improv places in New York and LA and just kind of like watched and tried it out. It's the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
That movie we made 5 years ago, I mean, I know you do stand up. It's like, oh my God, getting up there. Oof.
Especially for a woman, we talked about, you know, because you have to hit them hard. A lot of times we made progress as women to move forward. Like you said, you don't see that. I wish a lot of men were like, oh, I just see everyone as equal. But as a woman, there's still that stigma. Oh, she can't talk about sex. Oh, she can't. I mean, what's your feeling about in general, actresses, female comedians? Does that actually intrigue you? Or do you also feel like, oh, okay, that's a little too much? Like, why can a man get away?
Like I said, I don't even acknowledge if it's a woman or a male. To me, if it's funny, it's funny. It doesn't matter who says it.
It's the right answer. I mean, yeah. So speaking about, so talk to us a little bit about as well, movies that you're working on now, and because you're very busy, there's always something that's coming up. What are you working on now, if you could share with us?
So I'm doing Press for I Love Us. The premiere is on the 13th, comes out on the 17th. And I'm starting prep on my movie, The Gemini Lounge, that I'm going to be shooting, hopefully, God willing, at the end of October. Starting at the end of October.
Can you give us a little tease yet or no, not yet?
Yeah, The Gemini Lounge is a bar in Canarsie, Flatlands, Brooklyn, that a guy named Roy DeMeo had. And he had the craziest, scariest crew in the world. And they would chop people's bodies up in there. They worked for the Gambino family.
Oh my God.
Like psychopaths. And that's basically it. I mean, you know, there's a whole story behind it. You know, the movie's really about a cop that infiltrates this crew and kind of like tells it the way he saw it with the historical stories that we all know about that time.
Awesome. Sorry, my dog is barking, so I had to put it on mute. That sounds awesome. The Gemini Lounge, which is like amazing because you always come out with the cool movies. That's what I love about. I just always wait for your movies. And what's also cool is, I don't know if you realize this, every year that we've spoken, that you've been on the show, you've been on the show now 4 times. You've had about 3 movies out every year. How does that feel? To just always be working, right? Because that's an actor's fear. That's an actor's dream. So,
well, I create my own work. I put myself through it. You know, I don't sit around and go, okay, if I get a movie, I'll do it. I don't like sitting around. I'm bored. So I try to make a movie and work. And that's basically what it comes down to.
So it's about really having the drive.
And like sitting and dwelling on the movie, like, yeah, did you see that? You know, it's like, you know, you make a movie, the process of making it is incredible. Hopefully people enjoy it and take something from it. And then you got to move on to the next thing, yeah.
some of the audience also have some questions if you're cool with that. They're asking. So back in the day, we know that you've always acted, but you've also promoted and you've also like ran nightlife in New York City and with all the biggest actors. Leonardo DiCaprio, you've also worked in movies with Anna Lynn McCord, David Arquette, major actors. Who would you say is someone that you haven't worked with that you'd like to work with? And who was maybe your favorite person to work with, if you had one?
Well, I have a small role in The Irishman, and Al Pacino is in it. And it made
Your
fun
twin, your twin. Sorry, but yeah.
yeah. Um, Al Pacino is somebody that I would love to be. You know, I was in The Irishman with him, but I didn't do a scene with him. But I would love to do a scene with Al Pacino. Somebody I love working with, David Arquette. I love working with so many people. I just love David Arquette as a human being. I think he's the greatest. There's so many people. Everyone that brings something different to it. You know, it's a whole thing.
Do you think we will see a movie with you and Leonardo DiCaprio one of these days?
Oh God. Oh, I wish.
We're all wishing. We're like thirsty. I feel like you guys would just do such a great, I don't know, you're just a good dynamic. Maybe that's because like I've seen you out together, but I don't know. Do you think that would ever happen, or that's kind of very hard to do?
I don't want to talk about that.
Right. Okay.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, we could cut that out too. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, it's all good.
ask, but the audience always asks that. But anyway, so let's talk about in general, what would you say you're looking for now in an actor or an actress if they wanted to audition for movies for you right now, if they wanted to pitch you movies and stuff? You and I had spoken a little bit about that off the record, but what are you looking for?
What stories I'm looking for? Is it or
And yes, stories or just in people, like what are you looking for them to act, to show you, like, you know?
authenticity? Just someone who's authentic. Like when I cast someone, I understand what they bring to the world, what kind of like personality they are, and it already matches what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean?
So you always have people in the back of your mind. If people pitch to you, hey, Danny, think of me, you'll think if you have the right role for them.
Yeah, if I have the right role for them, I would consider them. You have to understand, it's everyone contacts me trying to get a role. It's so difficult, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
and
How
I
does that
try to
feel?
do the best job to, you know, and I like helping people out and putting them in a movie and opening their career. But sometimes I got to figure out what's best for me too.
Of course. No, I love that answer because that's honesty, but it's also like being nice and kind, because a lot of people in the industry always are worried about themselves, you know, too. So that's kind of tough. Talk to us a little bit about your opinion on social media now. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's a positive thing for people in the creative field? Do you think it's a negative thing because there's a lot of bullying, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of, you know?
Well, it's a double-edged sword because it's the easiest way to get the word out and like everyone can know what you're up to. But if you read the comments, you're just like, what is wrong with people? Like, why are they so? I don't know what to think. I mean, I use it just to like promote my movies and try to like stuff like that. And a lot of people use it for different reasons, you know.
Yeah.
People try to show a life they have that they don't really have. It's like the whole thing.
Or people, you know, do crazy things like me, like dance and do comedy. Sometimes that doesn't work. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. My crazy dance moves, like my Israeli father wants to send me to Israel boot camp, just FYI.
I hear you.
But yeah, we're gonna wrap up really soon. So I wanted to also ask you, what do you think is an obstacle that happened to you in your life or in the career that you're in, that made you feel like, you know what, I want to give up, but then you overcame it and you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna keep moving on. I'm not gonna.
I always,
yeah.
to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't had that one big hit that everyone saw, and it's like a breakout movie. And I'm always like, is it gonna come? You know, but then I think about it, it's like I just enjoy the process of making the movies. For me, that's already successful. The fact that I get to make them. So yeah, I mean, all the time I'm like, oh man, it did okay. I wish you'd done better. But then you just go, okay, we'll try the next one to do better, you know. And so just keep going. Giving up is no option to me.
Right. Just I love that
I
you.
mean, but I'm the type of person that I can wake up tomorrow and go, that was fun. Now I want to be a pro golfer, you know? And
Right, and you would actually be successful at the pro golfing.
I
That's
don't
what's
know,
amazing.
but I would, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just
Or
go day
or
by
a
day.
DJ or a
Yeah, or
musician. You never
whatever.
know. Do you have anything that you want to work on more, that you want to kind of push out, something other than films or movies, like
I,
music?
no, I'm not big on, I love listening to music. I just don't think I'll be good at it. I don't know. I love basketball. Maybe coaching basketball would be fun.
That's a
I don't
cool
know.
thing.
We'll see.
Can you give us a little details about your engagement? Like, how did it happen? When the wedding is? Mazal tov, congratulations, a lifetime of happiness. You know, your woman is like amazing. Like, she's beautiful.
Thank you.
Seems kind and cool. I just, most people should be like that.
Thank you. She's the best. Got engaged in end of last year, December, or like the end of December. And we're just because of COVID trying to figure out when we can actually have the wedding.
Is it going to be big, small, or you want to make it like intimate?
Oh, we're figuring it out.
Yeah,
We're
because
figuring it out.
you're a very popular man, so that's going to be
Oh yeah.
a tough,
Well, I hope, you know.
a tough
I hope
guest.
if I invite people, they come.
Of course they will. I'm so happy for you. When I heard about it, it was amazing, and everyone at iHeartRadio sends you congratulations. They're happy for you.
Thank you very much.
So also, I wanted to ask you a question. We're going to talk a little bit about dating, since you know how to land an amazing woman, and now you're engaged. What is your tips for us who are working women, working men out there in this field specifically, how to balance a relationship? Well, what advice would you give us? What should we do? Because this is important.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if you really want to make it work, you work on making it work. But you have your reasoning needs to be pure.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
people go, I want a boyfriend just because they want a boyfriend. You know, it's like if this is the person you think you want to spend time with, and this is the person you want to get to know, you make sure you work around your schedule. You make sure you do whatever you can to make that person understand that you are very committed to that thing. A lot of people just kind of dance around the commitment. They're just like, yeah, it's fun. I don't know. I don't know if it's right. You know, I wouldn't do that if I wasn't 100% like into it. I would, you know, so I guess for me, it's like until you meet that person that you want to spend time with, you can just be kind of like doing your thing. But once you meet that person, you kind of have to be like, okay, I understand that I know that I should probably work another, you know, hour and a half, but I have plans that I'm going to go and, you know, see, it's about commitment, it's about making time, it's about paying attention and listening, you know, and if you do that, it's going to work.
What is it about her that you felt like, I know she's the one for me? I've had experience in my life, and something about her is what I know that she's, you know.
First of all, she's amazing. She's sweet. She's kind. She's funny. She's smart. She's beautiful. All those things. She also reminds me of my family, of where I come from, and that kind of love and attention. And she kind of like, I can't really put a finger on it. It's just she really cares, and it
Yeah.
shows. You know.
Yeah, yeah, she's special. You could tell. She's a special person in the most amazing way. I honestly, we should all try to be like her.
Man.
Amen. A lot of us can learn some lessons, you know, and I'm happy for you guys. And the other thing I was going to ask you is, what's something that you would suggest to us for Chanel in the City audiences to go eat at, restaurants in LA if we come, or the city that you like to go to? I know.
Well, I love in the city the whole Tao group stuff. You know, you go to Beauty and Essex, you go to Tao, you go to Lavo.
Yeah.
If you're going out to a club, you go to Marquee, you go to PhD, you know, all these Lavo, all the Tao group stuff. In LA, you know, same thing. They have all their great stuff, Beauty and Essex Tao. But I love Nobu, Malibu. Oh my God, regular Nobu. I love Medeo's, which is opening again, Italian restaurant in LA. Crossroads, if you're vegan, it's incredible. Avra, oh my God, Avra.
I heard
Oh my God.
Amazing.
You know, there's so many good, oh my God. There's so many good restaurants.
I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
before we wrap up, one thing we want to know is, um, in the movie industry, I'm sure there's been a lot of people who, or maybe not, but if has there been a lot of people that said to you, "Oh, you're not going to make it," or "Oh, you're crazy to do this." If that has happened, how do you react to those people? How should we react when somebody tells us, "Ah, you're not going to make it. Ah, stop doing this. You're not going to do this." Like, what can we learn from you?
Wow. Okay, so I'll tell you a story.
Okay, I love this. Yay.
I made Holy Rollers, right? It
Sorry,
went,
one of my favorite movies, and everybody must check it out. It's on demand. You can get it for free right now. Yep. Sorry.
I went and made Holy Rollers. It got into Sundance. I sold it. It got theatrical distribution. It was an incredible success for us, my first movie. And then wanted to make a movie about clubs called Club Life. And I think it was in page 6 that they wrote that I am going to go and make this movie about based on my life and how I saw the nightlife and stuff. And one day on some like Eater or one of these like sites, this guy wrote, ha ha ha, yeah, blah, blah, blah. At the end, he's going to try to make a movie about nightlife. Yeah, wait to see it in 2071. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I already made Holy Rollers and he wrote that. That really motivated me. You know what I did? I invited him to the premiere and I wrote, you're about 64 years early, but here's the invite to the premiere. And I send him the message.
First of all, what a great joke. Second of all, what a great thing to do. Rise above.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, why would you say that? If if I'm talking about going to the moon, I've already made a movie. It just did not make any sense to me that he would write, look for the Club Life in 2071, something like that.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it.
And how did he react to when you invited him?
He never responded.
But I'm sure but that's a great story to say that it motivated you to keep going, that comment didn't.
Yeah, look, I mean, when I first told people I'm gonna go make movies, they were like, "Are you retarded? Why would you do that? You're Danny A. You're like run all the nightlife. You know." And I'm sure I heard from people that they were like, "The hell is he thinking?" But I'm not doing this to prove to anyone else anything. This is what I love to do, and this is what I'm trying to do, and that's it. I'm not in no competition with anyone, and people can say, well, you haven't won an Oscar or your movies haven't hit like the big like commercial success. What do you feel about that? The success is that I actually get to make movies. Bingo. That's success. Amen. To me. It has nothing to do with like, would I like everyone in the world to see I Love Us? Absolutely. But that's not how I look at it. Success to me is I get up in the morning, I do what I love to do, and I continue to do it. And to me, that's the best thing.
I love that. Well, we can end on that note, unless there's anything else. Well, is there something you want to clarify more about you?
No, my food's going to be here in a couple minutes. I always support you. I've been doing these like shows nonstop now. I went on Access Hollywood yesterday. But I support you. You're like family. So I took the time. Yes, and I sat here and I love it. And it always makes me feel good. So.
And I love you. And I want to thank you so much. And I want everyone to understand how much you supported me and believed in me and never put me down and motivated me. And I wish everyone was like you. Honestly, I think I would have been further. It's not people's fault, but it's helpful when we have men or human beings or creatives like you encouraging us. And even you said like you really opened doors. You've opened doors.
Don't pay attention to what anyone says.
I know.
Look, if this is what you love to do it. If your mom comes to you and says, honey, look, don't say this about the family, then maybe these are things you can pay attention to. But if it works and you say things and people laugh and that's what makes you feel good, you do it.
Or like when you said, what stuck with me when you said, Chanel, if you want to be an actress and this whole time you wanted to be a comedian actress, then say it and just ask the right people and prove it. Like, meaning, you know what I mean? Instead of being like, I want to do this to get there, when
Yeah,
that's not even the truth, you know?
and stop trying to please everyone. Do what you think is right. And if the path is working, continue with it. You know, it's not about becoming famous. It's about being able to do what you love. And then someone will recognize that and you'll bring your own voice to it and it would be great.
Yeah. Like, do you believe in general that the promoting helped the act? Like the connection?
Absolutely. Marketing is, look, like I said, I think I Love Us is a great movie. I'm hoping everyone sees it. And it would be unfortunate. But the reality is most people were not going to hear about it. I mean, if you have $50 million in marketing, you can get it out there.
It's about money.
Yeah, marketing is the most important thing. Get it out as much as you can. Let people try to have people, because all you want to do is give it a shot. Because when people watch it, they'll be like, oh, I love that. And hopefully then we'll get the word out and people will find it.
Yeah, I would love to push it, by the way. Anything I can do. There's other outlets.
Yeah, post about it.
Page 6, I know, I'm sure you know Page 6 too, but I'm saying like, I'll just push it, iHeartRadio.
Push the shit out of it.
Push the shit, you're my family. Push the shit out of it. No, and I also want to say, one thing you also see in me and everybody is, I think you see the bigger picture. So I want to thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really see the bigger picture.
You're putting yourself out there. When I watch you on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, but you're putting yourself out there, but it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. Like, you get it. You get it.
I get it.
I know I'm not like our other friends who are social media influencers, like perfect, but I love that you get it. And I know you have to go, but I love you so much.
You are who you are.
I am
one with it.
Thank you. And one day I'm going to be in one of your movies, God willing, Bezrat Hashem. I hope you give me the chance to prove to you, and I will push everything. I'll even work like a dog for you in the marketing. You don't even have to come up with the 50 million. I'll just fucking go into the streets, old school. I just did it for my
You'll hit the streets. You'll hit the streets.
I'll hit the streets, old school. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Danny A from I Love Us, and you're listening to me on the Chanel on the City podcast on iHeartRadio with Chanel Omar.